Hello, is this David?
Yeah.
Hey David, this is Paul, Outsider Tacklebox radio show and podcast. We have Tommy in the studio. He made it.
Hey, how's it going, David? Yes, he's correct. I actually barely made it. I'm barely awake, to be completely honest.
It's one of those days for Tommy. He's talking to people like if we're on TV, which we do have IGTV, but we're not live right now, Tommy. So we're actually doing the audio portion first.
Oh, look at you. That's awesome.
Welcome to the show, David. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
The idea behind the radio show and podcast is to spread happiness to the world through the joys of fishing. And you sent in quite a bit of photos a couple of weeks ago, so thank you very much. We feel like fish photos and videos help spread happiness. And so we have people come on and tell us about their fish catches, just where they caught the fish, if you want to give up the location. If not, just make it up. And we send Tommy out when it's made up, because it's just fun to do that. And then what bait you were using, and the size of the fish, if you were able to measure it. And we see in one of the photos that you actually had a digital scale, so we got a size on this fish. Yeah. So this is your story. Go ahead. We're going to upload this for your listening pleasure and share it with your friends and family.
Yep.
We're on iTunes. We're broadcast all over the nation. We have a small following in Germany.
Well, in Europe.
In Europe, actually. Yeah. There's, that we get some listen. They're on demand. They usually don't listen.
Well, still, I mean, it's kind of cool that people in Europe are going to listen to David's story or just hear him talk, and he's like, look at that.
It is pretty good. It's pretty cool that, we have a small following over there. It's the younger generation of fishermen, and obviously they probably speak English, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine too. Yeah,
because I don't speak German.
You don't even speak English, so
that's true.
Go.
I have my own version of English. I make up words.
Yeah, I know you make up words. Anyway, this is David's podcast.
Let's get back to David, since it's his fish story.
That's right.
It looks like he has a pretty good sized bass, and he's got a video on there. So let's hear your fish story. Go ahead, David.
Okay, well, thank you guys for having me. It started out where it was just one of those, the day before, it had rained enough to where there was a lot of flooding in the area. Mm. This is northwest Arkansas, so, there was a lot of rain that we got. And, I don't fish after it's rained like that. So it was about 2 p.m., and I was down there for the holiday weekend with my kids, and 2 of my kids went to their grandma's, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna go fish for a little bit, talking to their mom, and she's like, yeah, that's fine, go ahead and go.
Yeah.
So I go to the local, it's a city lake, so, and that's where they also get their, drinking water, so you can't swim there, but you can fish there.
Yeah.
And so I go there, and there's nobody there. It's 40 degrees. It's windy. The water looks like chocolate milk. There's no visibility, no clarity. It's just terrible. Everything's just bad conditions. And so I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just try it anyways. So I start going through different lures. I'm Googling stuff. I've been, bass fishing for a couple of years, so I'm always trying to learn. And so, those are conditions I normally are not familiar with. So I'm going through, lipless rattle traps and just different things for the weather.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm more comfortable with soft plastics. My favorite thing to use are soft plastics. Mm-hmm. And you can use them all year. And so I know that lake, that there's a certain soft plastic, it's a Cinco, I believe. It's made by Strike King, and it's called Sweet Tater Pie. It's like an orange, black, and yellow color. And during the summer and spring, it's really good there. You can actually just throw it out there on a Texas rig and not even move it, and it has that smell of the pie. It smells like sweet tater pie. And you can just, and a bass or goggle eye will just hit it. Nice. You don't even got to do anything. And so So I ended up going to a shaky head that I've never used before, and it was in my mystery tackle box from the month before. And so I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just try this. It's what I'm familiar with. I know this lure works at this lake. And so I start using it as I'm going down there's a walking path that goes along the edge of the entire lake. So I start going down it, and I'm throwing out, and this lake has tons of debris in the water. There's tons of branches, trees, logs, vegetation. So I can tell I'm hitting stuff. It's I'm not sure the weight of the shaky head, but it was kind of heavy duty. And so I'm throwing it out, and I'm just like, I'm throwing it to the dead center of my area. I'm not trying to do along the bank line. I'm throwing straight to the middle. So I throw it out there, and I'm dragging it, and with the wind, and I could see a lot of slack in my line, so I can't tell if it's, it's really hard to tell when something picks it up, So I see the line start to just take off, and normally I try to set the hook immediately because I'm all about making sure I don't gut the fish.
Oh yeah.
So, I did let him take it for a second because I wanted to make sure that I landed my first bite. So I let him run with it for about 10 seconds, and then sure enough, I'm like, okay, this is my moment. So I set the hook. It was a good set, and I'm reeling it in, and it feels heavy, but then again, fish are deceiving. They have this deceiving power. So as I'm reeling it in, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just a regular size, like a 1 pounder, and I'm just hitting a lot of vegetation. And I guess fish have this thing. I've seen it with smallmouth bass where you'll be reeling one in, and you'll have followers or chasers because I guess they think that the fish is chasing food, not knowing that
it's already on,
being reeled in.
So it's fun to
they're
watch.
like, oh my God, what's he chasing? So they start following him.
Yeah.
But so as I'm reeling it in, for some reason a really small bass hits the top of the water, like as if it was him. Like I got kind of deceived for a second. So I guess as mine was getting closer to coming in, the smaller bass, I assumed maybe thought that one was chasing food.
Yeah.
So I guess he tried to get it, but he hit the top water, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like, this is not him. And then a couple seconds later, I see mine explode, and I'm like, oh man, please don't come off. That's all I can think.
Yeah.
Every time I see something like that, and especially that size, it's right when you see them, you kind of like lock in on where your hook's at, and it was in the top of the mouth. So then after that, you're like, please, the line don't break. And then I actually had to like step down. It was off of a bank line that kind of drops in.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually get in the water, but I stepped down on some broken logs, and I got it to the bank. And so I reached down to grab them, and it did kind of hurt because like a couple weeks ago, I think I broke my finger at work. But
yeah.
So I grabbed it with that hand, and he gives a couple hard shakes that were kind of worth it. But sure enough, I get it on bank, and I was so relieved.
Well, that thing, it looks like it's about a little over 5 pounds. Am I correct? Almost 6 pounds.
Yeah, it was 5 pounds. It was over 5 pounds.
Yeah. See, and that's worth it. I mean, it's worth a little finger injury, but I mean, you got it done.
Oh yeah.
It's a good looking fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It's funny about bass fishing, especially like when it comes to bass fishing. I never keep them. It's like that's my sport and passion.
Yeah.
But it's funny to think about how much people will invest in tackle and all the fishing stuff, and all it ultimately comes down to is landing that great quality fish and just taking a picture with it.
Taking a picture. That's it.
Yeah, that's what it's probably the most expensive picture that will take.
Yeah, it is really. It is. But it's so worth it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm with David on that one. Yeah,
we love it, and we keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, David. I know you and I messaged offline, and you have quite a bit of fish stories. So this is not the last time So please share with us your fish stories, photos. Continue to do so.
Yeah, we'll get you back on the radio again, and you can even write up a blog.
Yeah, he was asking about the blog.
Yeah.
So we're updating the blog to have guest bloggers because we have quite a few people that have submitted for our blog, and we love it. We love the fish stories. They're all, we do view it first, and then we don't really edit it too much. We just put up the story so we can hear it as the person was telling it.
But yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's what we love to do. It's just the whole spreading the love, spreading the joys of fishing. That's what we here at Outsider Tackle Box are all about. I mean, yes, we're a subscription box company, but it's all about the love of the sport.
That's right.
So
thanks, Tommy, for sharing that with us.
No problem. See, I can be productive in the morning.
Well, David, great fish story. We were there with you the whole time. We were on that log and feeling the pain with that broken finger.
Well, I don't think it was broken. He just got it hurt.
So that's how you know it's a good fish story, when we're there with you.
Apparently, Paul broke his finger with you. I didn't even know you broke your finger. I knew you had hurt it.
Exaggerating the story.
Okay.
It's fish. It's called
well,
fish story.
It's a fish story, yeah.
Fishermen exaggerate just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it's necessary.
It would have been cooler had the fish caused the injury. But
exactly. See, if Paul would have told the story, it would have been the fish broke his hand and he had to jump in the water and
the next
wrestle
time
it down.
I tell this story to somebody, because people often say, "Tell us a fish story." You have so many. I'm going to tell this story where I broke my hand on a log. I jumped in the water and I was in the river while reeling it in.
Yeah, and nobody will believe you, but it's all right.
I'm going to give credit to David.
Yeah,
it'll be his fish story, but I'm going to tell it a version that way. Well, thank you very much, David. Please come back on the show. We'll talk again. We'll message offline, and from all of us here at Outsider Tackle Box, tight lines.
Tight lines, buddy. Have a good Saturday. Enjoy, man. Take care.
Thank you. You guys too. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.